Hello!
Good evening.
We're handicapped this week. We're down the man.
We are.
Taylor's been sent to the sin bin. So, we've got a lot more ground to cover by ourselves.
Realistically, he's studying for exams.
He's on academic probation. Yeah, this week was weird. Few very good games, few not very good games.
Yep.
Which I suppose is
I
how
would agree.
football normally goes.
Yeah, but you want some better games, don't you, mostly?
Yeah, I suppose that is true.
Okay. What we start with?
Start with Knights v Eagles.
This was really stupid. This was probably the stupidest.
Yeah, Newcastle is so frustrating.
What the hell happened?
It feels like it's happened with nearly every team this year, where they get to a point where it's logical to give up on them, and they just win randomly. Like, why did they win this game? I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
The second half performance was actually really very good.
It was excellent, wasn't it? Or maybe it was Newcastle maybe it was Manly being terrible.
I was talking to my teacher friend who's a mad Newcastle supporter, and he said it was basically because they got booed off at half time.
Very possible, isn't it?
They had to turn it around somehow, because getting booed by your own fans sucks.
Never a good look.
No. Happened to the Tigers a couple of years
It's happened to
back.
the Tigers before. I think it's happened to the Titans.
It may have happened to the Parramatta Eels as well, but who cares, because that's the Eels. But yeah, this was weird. Manly were just cruising.
Well, yeah, the first half, Manly had 58% of the ball. They had 6 line breaks to none. It was domination. Like they were dominating the stat sheet. It was what was it? What was the score at halftime? Was it when
It was 24-0 or something. It was not by much. It wasn't much. It was 24 to not very much. I think 22 to not.
I think it was 16-0 because
Oh,
it was
16-0
in the second half.
That's
Yes,
right. Yes.
just I don't know.
You get to 16-0, you win.
You should.
Yeah.
You definitely should. Then, yeah, I don't know. I want to know what Adam O'Brien said at halftime.
But I think you look at Newcastle, Kai Pearce-Paul went ballistic.
He's been excellent this year. He's been really good.
Even Ponga was relatively good.
He's starting to look more and more involved,
Mm.
which is all you can hope for from the start of the year when he looked very lethargic a lot of the time.
Yeah, I hope he can bring that to the Queensland team, but we can talk about that at another point.
Yeah. I think it was strange that a lot of the second half spark came from the guy who was arguably the cause for a lot of Newcastle's problems in the first half, because James Schiller decided to turn into a great winger for 40 minutes. That first half he had was
And he
horrendous.
was bad.
It
That was like derby levels of bad.
really bad. And then in the second half, he just decided, you know what, I know how to play football, and I'm going to run for 200 meters and set up 3 tries. It's stupid. I don't get it, man.
No, that was a weird game.
It was very weird. I also thought that he's not picked for Origin, sadly, but I thought Dane Gagai played very well again.
The issue that he's got is his defence isn't great.
He hits hard.
Yeah, but he doesn't stick well, and that's the problem. While he can break tackles, he's not making them as well as he needs to. So
Yeah, I suppose that's...
I still would have thought. I still think he would have looked good in Origin for game 2. He just brings that mongrel into the team a bit,
Exactly, I agree
which
with that.
Queensland are missing.
The Fletcher Sharp is Fletcher Sharp. He just keeps doing his thing. He's so good.
Who's the other Fletcher?
Fletcher Hunt. The guy they keep gassing up as the best in the air, and he's not even that good.
Well, they're looking too much. There are too many names the same. There's too many people who look the same now.
They're all white. They're all decently sized white men with mullets.
With mullets. It's also, what the hell?
I'm just like,
Manila's another one, right? Yeah,
it must be like, that must be 70% of the population of Newcastle, I reckon.
probably.
I've never been, but
They're an industrial town, so they're like a steel town. So it's like they're all bogans.
they're all bogans,
Yeah.
exactly. New South Wales bogans, fake bogans.
Yeah, not like Queensland bogans. We get the real ones in Logan.
Me too. Look, I think the thing you can say for Newcastle is the first half was bad, yes, but with how good they were in the second half and by extension into Golden Point, maybe they've found something now. Maybe they've found something they can actually build on.
Oh, they need to.
They need to, right?
If they don't, they're just going to end up down the gurgler some more. And you know, Newcastle fans, I don't hate Newcastle. They're not my favourite team, but they're not my least favourite team. I just
Kind of.
want to see them do a little bit.
Well, they have been doing a bit the past few years. We have to remember they made the finals 4 out of the past 5 seasons.
Yeah, and that's the only reason Aaron O'Brien's
Still
still
has
has
a
a job.
job. Yes, I agree.
Because then he gets knocked out in the first or second round tops, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But yeah, it's at least signs of life for Newcastle now, which is
Yeah.
something. And I guess by extension, Manly's first half was pretty good.
and the second half must have been diabolical.
I think what happened is that there were two HIAs in this game very early. Like Newcastle lost Tyson Frizzell and Manly lost Lehigh Hopewadi. So what they had to do was they moved Tolu Kola to fullback, who's a very serviceable
Yeah,
fullback. He's
yeah.
quite good. But then you have to move. They played Corey Waddell at centre for all those minutes, and that takes a lot of staunch out of the middle rotation. And it caught up to them in the second half, I think.
Yeah, probably did. And look,
And that's why Kai Pierce-Paul went nuts.
he was very good. He was offloading at will. He was
I think that's exactly what happened. I think Manly ran
Yeah,
I know they did.
yeah.
One of their only decently aged forwards ended up playing in the centres.
Yeah.
So
the
they
gauge went.
exactly.
Yeah.
I truly believe that's what happened.
Then look, Manly are still there or thereabouts. I think yes, they had a bad second half, and it was, I guess, like you say, there were reasons for it. But you still want to try and not lose when you get that far in the front,
Exactly.
you know. And good luck to Newcastle. They fought hard in the second half and made it to Golden Point, and then didn't do a 1 point in Golden Point. They actually scored a golden try.
Yeah, it was a very good try.
It was.
Actually. It was very
Holden got himself over the line the first time.
We're halfway through the season. It's Holden's first try.
Yes, I know. That's a bit sad, really.
On Manly's side, I brought up Tolu Kola before. He's always served. I think he ran for 300 metres or something stupid.
Kawada was pretty
He
good.
was great.
He's a man mountain out there. It's like a man playing against boys when he gets going. It's just crazy.
It's fun. The matchup, actually, no, Kuiper's ball's on the other side of the field, wasn't he? Unfortunately, that would have been a fun combo. That would have been a really fun matchup.
I think Kawada probably wins that one.
Kawada did his usual thing, and that's just it. So,
yeah. And he's not in the New South Wales team, which is horrendous. Anyway,
no, he pulled out because he's having a child this week, his first one, or before Origin.
Well, I guess his wife is, but yes.
You know what I mean? He's becoming a dad.
Well, that's a fair enough reason.
Yeah,
that's I understand that. Cool. Good game.
Yeah, look, it tested Manly's depth with the thing, and that's what concerns me about the longevity of this team, because relatively speaking, aside Tom Trebojevic, but he's like a factor every year when it comes to injuries. They've been okay on the injury front, but it's one thing took them out completely. So if they even lose a couple of people to injury later in the year, I'm really concerned about their long-term prospects as a top 8 team.
Yeah.
So as long as they can stay healthy, I'm not concerned about them. They're a good team, but
they are a good team.
The depth is a little bit concerning now, at least for mine.
Yeah, I understand.
However, they do get to keep out Terry Evans over the next few weeks for the first time in about a decade. So maybe that will
He might have a point to prove as well.
So I guess we will see.
Either that or just throw his toys out of the pram. That's another thing he could do.
Newcastle are really annoying because their attack is terrible. Right? It is the worst in the league by some 4 points a game. It's really bad. But they have the third best defense. So that's what makes me think if they've found something in attack that they can build on from that second half, they're a good team. Yeah. They just need to play consistent attacking football for more than 30 minutes.
They lose Kai Pierce-Paul next year, though, don't they?
They do lose Kai Pierce-Paul.
It's the Tigers, is he, or something?
And they lose Leo Thompson.
So
this is the last year they can do anything, in my opinion.
Next year they're going to get, they'll have nothing. They'll no go forward, they'll have nothing. But
you can have Dylan Brown all you want. He doesn't have a forward pack. No. There's nobody now. It's Thompson Frizzell.
That's his forward pack.
Brody Jones.
Woo!
Exactly. Anyway. This is the last year for Newcastle to do anything, and if they want to make the finals, they need to kick on now with the attacking football we saw in the second half.
And don't go back into their shell.
Don't go back into your shell. Play aggressive.
That's not going to work for you because, once again, your attack sucks.
Exactly.
Going back in your shell is not going to win you games.
It's impressive that their attack is as bad as the weapons that they have.
Know how that works, man. But then they will throw off these random times when they score 30 points or 26 points or whatever.
Exactly. So it's consistency. That's the name of the game this year for rugby league is consistency or the lack thereof.
The only thing consistent is the fact that it's inconsistent.
Exactly. So I think Newcastle just need to find a little bit of the magic that they drew from the second half.
Yeah, cancelled, but the inconsistency also goes to the officials, but we can talk about that as we go on.
Oh, yeah, we'll have that. I thought they were okay for the majority of the round. I can get that out of the way now. I thought the refereeing this round overall was quite good, bar one game.
Yeah, what about a team where...
yeah, we'll get to that. I'll let you whinge and cry about that.
Not going to whinge and cry. I mean, the better team still won, but we'll get to that anyway.
We can whinge and cry about how bad the Cowboys are. This was exactly what I expected.
This time they played for 10 minutes. Scored 14 points.
It's getting worse. It went good for a bit, and now we're coming back down.
Come on, boys. Honestly, that was terrible.
Look,
your attack just died.
And you still can't defend.
No. So you got the opposite problem of Newcastle. Actually, no. You got a worse problem.
They've got the same problem as the Titans.
Yeah.
That they're not good at anything, really. It's just, look, I get it. You're playing Melbourne. They're an elite level team. But
to be the best, you've got to beat the best.
Or at least look competitive.
It
was steamrolled.
Their 2 tries that they scored in the second half were actually excellent.
Oh, great tries. Yes.
And then Jackson Paulo decides to offload to the ground.
Yeah, this is the same thing I was saying about them last year. That they have this tendency to, when they get something good going, it's immediate, they go. But when they need to try and build pressure and play good football, they can't get back into that mindset quickly enough. And that's what led to that Jackson Paulo offload that killed all the momentum.
Yeah, he didn't need to do that. All he needed to do was fall over.
Exactly.
It was like the second tackle or something. Yeah, that's the rant about that part. But there's not much else to rant about except for the fact that Tom Dearden tried really hard.
He tried hard every week. I thought that
he was probably their best.
I was very impressed with Rob Derby in this game. I thought the fact that he did very well to shut down Xavier Coates.
The fact that he out-jumped him twice, and they were about the only 2 that went his way. He out-jumped Xavier twice was quite impressive.
Yeah, I thought Derby was good in this game. Nanai, there's this theme that I'm seeing with the Cowboys where it's something good happens and something bad happens. And I know that that's based on how the world works, that's bound to happen, but it shouldn't be happening for professional footballers at a 50-50 rate, in my opinion. Like, Drinkwater
should be getting more good than it. Drinky wasn't awful.
He ran for 210 meters. Yeah. He had a try. He was all right. But he also had a tackle efficiency of 50%.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
And made 4 errors. Jeremiah Nanai, 150 meters, but 5 missed tackles and 3 errors. Cohen Hess, he ran 130 meters off 11 runs, which is excellent, but gave away 2 set restarts and had 2 errors and also gave away a penalty.
Yeah, but he tackled well.
Discipline doesn't exist for this team. That's the problem. They're not disciplined at all. They're supremely talented.
You know who's going well, though, and I don't think he's actually lowered he's actually gone up, and that's actually Jordan McLean.
Yeah, he's been very good.
He's adding things to his game at his age. You know, he's not a young pup anymore. Yeah. He's put a step in.
He's a Cowboys player that's figured out how to adapt. Yeah. What the hell?
And he's got a passing game again now. It's like,
where was this the past 6 years?
However, he's always been stoic up the middle, and again, no misses in tackles or anything like that.
He did fine. He did good. It's just annoying.
Well, for Melbourne, it was Jerome Hughes.
It was the Jerome Hughes show. He was
good.
In my opinion, this was the first game this year where he looked like the Jerome Hughes of last year. He was all over the shop. He was great.
He was so good. His kicks and his runs, and he picked the right time to do both. It's like,
yeah. This was a great game from Jerome Hughes. I thought the rest of the spine was a little bit quiet. I don't think that Munster or Paps really did anything much.
They didn't need to. I guess that was because of Hughes' control of the game. I thought Sean Blaw was excellent.
Sean Blaw was good. I thought Stefano had his best game for the Storm so far.
Yeah, he was frustratingly good.
I thought Nelson was also very good in this game.
Nelson's scary, man. Was he 6'8" and 290 150 pounds. He's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's stupid. He ran. I think he had 9 tackle breaks or something stupid in this game in 40 minutes or whatever his stint is.
Yeah.
When you're playing a forward pack that's made up of Jordan McLean and some traffic cones, that's probably fair.
Oh, now.
I like to.
McIntyre's not a traffic cone.
People try and avoid traffic cones.
He did the usual Maori sidestep, which was straight through people.
Yeah, well,
That was Melbourne. They were good. Let's face it. There was only a section there that they might have started feeling a little bit. And Bellamy, you could see him up there screaming his head off. They were still in front 24-14, but he was still screaming his head off at them.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys they looked like they might have come back, and then they died in the butt. So that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But
so you can't complete at 61%. Melbourne.
That was the 80s, you know.
To win.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
You can't complete anything less than about 82, 83 if you want to even go close to winning most football games.
I find it very impressive that Todd Payton, whose coach's MO is run hard, tackle harder, has a team that can't run the ball and can't tackle. It's quite impressive, honestly.
They need new defensive and attacking coaches.
Everything. He knew everything, man.
I think we can win you battle with that. But
Yeah.
hold on to Melbourne. You did exactly what you needed to do to beat the Cowboys.
I thought miracle the Cowboys still top 8.
They're still 6. What is happening? They've won 5 games, lost 6, and drawn 1. They really need to start winning because once the buys kick in, they're going to go.
So absurd, isn't it?
If they win this week, they stay in there.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
I don't know. I'm struggling to see where the Cowboys can fix this, to be perfectly honest.
Getting Muzz back might be helpful, which they do, which we'll talk about later.
But their edge defense hasn't been terrible. It's the middle where they're getting ruined.
When we get a big guy back as well, so hopefully.
Let's hope that he can at least do something.
Yeah. Okay, next game,
was Dolphins Dragons, which was a massacre.
Early, the battle of the red and whites.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes. And the Finns decided to violate several of the Geneva Conventions in this game.
Absolutely walloped their first half century in their history.
It was a murder. I felt like I was witnessing a war crime. This was bad.
And to be fair, the Dragons didn't offer anything.
No, they were awful. They were bad. They were truly
bad. While the Dolphins score looks impressive, it wasn't up against a very good side.
Like the Dragons, I think 3 of their players made it over 100 meters. Mm-hmm. They had only like 40% of the ball. It was just, they conceded 8 line breaks.
It was wet. It was raining.
It was raining, and they did this. How?
Oh,
it's impressive to concede that many points in the
rain.
Yeah.
What that tells me, though, is that the Finns actually play with the football pretty well.
Very well.
Yeah. Their wingers are going well. They've got speed all over the park. Commander Zacco had a doozy of a game.
Right. He was really, really good.
Must be the new haircut.
Isaiah Katoa.
Well, how many more superlatives can we throw out at a person?
Man.
But tell you what, he could still. Is he a Queenslander?
Oh, he's New South Wales.
Well, he can stay not.
I went through the Penrith system. I understand who he was somewhat stupid by.
He can stay not playing Origin then. He's too good, man.
I'm very interested. The next few years of State of Origin halves for New South Wales are going to be very intriguing.
As like obviously Nathan Cleary and Moses get a bit older,
aging out. Because you have, at the very least, now you have Katoa, Galvin, and Strange coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent players.
Who the Queenslanders have? Beard and
Sam Walker.
That's
about it.
He's 30.
Yeah. They've got all the eggs in those 2 baskets, and unfortunately, Sam Walker is injury prone, and Dearden is.
Dearden's fine
if he plays 6. Yeah, that's the thing. But back to this game. I thought Kirby Farnworth did his usual shtick of being amazing. Hammer, I thought, also had a pretty good game.
Hammer has those in him, though. I mean,
he does have these in him, especially when he's up against a team that doesn't care.
Or can't tackle.
Exactly. There's only negative for the Dolphins, and it's unfortunately a very large one. The loss of Matt Kleiner for the rest of the year.
I feel so bad.
It's
He only came back 2
He
weeks
only came
ago.
back from a plantar fascia injury
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I think it
and
was.
now his entire knee has exploded.
MCL and ACL at the same time.
And
Isn't
this
that
is coming at the same time as it's officially Daniel Saifidi and Tom Gilbert are all ruled out for the season. Their forward pack is destroyed right now.
so? I guess they're lucky they came up against the Dragons, who suck.
Who do suck. Yes. But yeah, look, the Dolphins played very well. And this is what you can, like, their forward pack is meh. That's never been their strength. It's their back line. They're like Manly, but better.
They got the fastest. I'm sorry. They have the fastest average back line in the competition. I'm saying average.
To think so. But the combo of Hammer, Avarillo, and Herbie has to be close.
Zacko is not slow.
Zacko's not slow. Bostock is okay.
He's fast enough.
He's not slow
He's
either.
not too bad in the air either. So
I think somewhat underwhelming this
he
year.
he won the didn't he win
He
the
won Rookie of the Year last year. Yeah,
he's not going to win any major awards this year.
No.
He's going to get winner of the year.
I think magically ends up with the most tries this year somehow.
Probably not going to happen.
No,
Zacko still has a chance for points though.
he scored 24 points in this game.
Ridiculous.
He had a
2 tries and all the kicks.
He had a great game.
Yeah.
Like the Dolphins sit in 7th now. They have a run of the next few, including the Cowboys, Knights, and Bunnies. They could easily string a few together and really push for even a top 4 spot, depending how.
Well, let's see. It's very close still, isn't it? It's quite tight.
Teams aren't that far behind. That's the thing. I feel like it's broken up into the top 3, then Cronulla, and then the rest.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Cronulla are by themselves, and then it's
Everyone will Island.
and then the Titans.
Yeah, the Titans are like they're last.
Yes.
And they're going to probably stay there for some
Well,
time.
we'll see how far the Dragons drop if they keep playing like this.
Well, yeah, there is that too.
But here's the thing. They did this against the Roosters on Anzac Day and then came out and won by the next week. They're doing this. They're doing exactly what they did last year. It's very frustrating. I can only imagine how Shane Flanagan is doing right now. Like, there were no positives in this game.
No, there were not.
Like, I can't even do my weekly Toby Couchman glazing because he just had no opportunity to do anything. He made 45 tackles, which is good.
Well, I think all that Flanagan said was that was rubbish what his team put out there today. I think that was almost word for word what he said. So, and not even Gutherson or anybody like that helped.
I mean, the King Togia guy looks all right. He always applies himself. He just needs help of any kind. I also don't think Kyle Flanagan is the right 7 for this team.
I
think he's burned all the Ilias bridges. I don't think Ilias would want to come back into the team. So I don't know what you do.
Ilias was a serviceable enough 7.
Fine.
Anyway,
I don't know.
I don't know what to talk about with this game except the Finns are going well
And
and the Dragons are not.
at least right now.
Yes,
They'll be good next week or whenever they play
hopefully the
next.
Finns aren't because for reasons.
I like the idea of the Dolphins being good, though. Success of an expansion team is always good to see.
It's good. What I think is good is that they're sort of doing it slightly differently to previous years. Previous years, they've started up at 1,000,000 miles an hour and just done this. They're slowly working their way.
They're doing the inverse, which is good for their ceiling, I suppose.
Look, Christian Wolf is a good coach. Okay, this much we know.
I talked about how easy the Dolphins' upcoming draw is. The Dragons, for the rest of the season, only play 3 teams that are currently beneath them on the ladder for the rest of the year.
I know the only 3 teams that are beneath them on the ladder.
No, there's a few that are beneath them. But no, their draw for the rest of the season is rough.
Well. Enjoy the spoon, boys. Although the Titans might fight you for it.
The Dolphins, the Titans going to get spooned. Speaking of blowouts, however, the Warriors' demolition of Cronulla.
Yes. Go to the Wars.
The Warriors might be good. I'm still not sold on them, but they might be good.
They walloped the Sharks at Shark Park.
The Sharks were terrible, though.
Yeah,
They were really bad.
Yeah, but normally Shark Park is this Bermuda Triangle for teams.
Home ground advantage has not existed this year at all.
That's probably
Really, what's the hardest away trip right now?
Melbourne, probably.
Melbourne, probably, because it's like 4 Pines doesn't work. Shark Park hasn't worked. Maybe it's New Zealand. Probably going to New Zealand.
Although Canberra went there and won, so I mean,
Canberra are weird because they've never historically been a very good home team, but they're just a good team now, so I guess it correlates.
Yeah.
But the Warriors, here's the thing, it was 12-10 at halftime to the Warriors. Like, it was a good, close game. And then they scored 28 unanswered points and decided to remind everyone that the Sharks are, and forever will be, frauds. They can't beat the good teams.
Not even with their really amazingly good forward pack, which is good on paper.
I was extremely disappointed with Adam Fanua-Blake in this game. He was a non-factor against his former club. You'd think he'd want to do something
for it. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I didn't hear his name called barely at all. It was just nothing. I thought Nico Hines had a shocker.
Yeah, he was bad.
He was bad. And Trindle couldn't pick up the slack, which is what I thought that dynamic was supposed to be.
Yeah, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
No.
They finally decided, hey, this is Nico Hines' team. And then he played like crap, and the entire team played like crap. Like, really, that's what happened.
This is what happens, though, right? Because, like you say, their forward pack was a bit of a non-event, which means their backs can't do diddly. Right? So, while Nico wasn't great and he didn't make great decisions at times, he didn't get many opportunities to make great decisions either. Yeah, it was poor. And he actually, on his day, has one of the better kicking games.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he was, for whatever reason, the Sharks didn't show up in the second half.
No.
And the Wales said, we're just going to take it from here. Thank you very much.
And they did, yes. At least I was happy to see T. Wilton back. I'm happy he's playing because I think he's quite good.
Yeah, he's fine.
And it went from bad to worse for the Sharks because now they're missing Taylor Ero for an extended period of time with a pec injury.
Yeah, that can be a bit nasty and they can be very lengthy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and he's a very good runner of the ball, so they're going to miss his meter-eating capabilities, that's for sure.
And he's been scoring tries in every game he plays.
Yes.
So I guess we will see.
That is true.
How quickly he comes back.
He's got like 11 in 10 or something.
He's on an insane streak. He's a great player.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Warriors, we're very good.
I'm very impressed.
Luke Metcalf continues to prove me wrong.
Can I say that at the moment, the form teams are the Warriors, the Raiders, and the Bulldogs. And maybe Melbourne, but those three are really in form at the moment. It's great that there might be a changing of the guard a little bit at the front. So no more Penrith, no more Roosters, no more Melbourne at the top four. Who knows? I think Melbourne is still going to get there, but
yeah. It's just
my Sharks' prediction is going to be way off.
Yeah, I haven't finished.
We both had them in second, though.
Yes, we both had them in second.
And Melbourne in first.
No,
that's not the way they're playing at the moment, at least.
But for the Warriors, Luke Metcalf, like I said, he continues to be amazing.
How good is he? And he's got no fear.
He's such a confident player, isn't he?
He's not cocky. That's the thing. He knows how good he is.
And he lets the football do the talk.
He doesn't shove it in people's faces like some people might. He is an excellent player. And if he keeps that particular mindset going, he could turn into one of the great...
at least one of the great Warriors halfbacks of all time.
Absolutely. That and Stacey Jones.
Yeah, not much Sean Johnson.
Those three, if he keeps going, they'll be in the same conversation.
Sounds like a clock stat. Has been on an insane run of form. This past month has been excellent. I'm very, very happy to see him finally kick back into what we
running 300 meters a game.
He ran for 240 in this game. He just runs and he doesn't stop.
He's like, and none of his runs are slow. It's
he's going there 100%.
Bang every single time.
It's just so good.
The other thing, I thought Roger had a good game.
I thought Roger played well. It's probably his best game of this season.
Dallin was slightly weaker this time, I think.
He's still working back from his injury, though. He still needs to get that fitness up. I'm not
he's slowing him down.
Yep, held off. Like Carl Walton.
Pretty sure he won't. It's like Weird Al Yankovic.
Usual. Aaron Clark.
Aaron Clark being Aaron Clark.
He
is a good player.
Man, he's awesome. However, I will highlight their entire crop of second rowers, bar Kurt Capel, is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Leka Halasima, Jacob Laban, Dimitri Vimalna. Man, what a good young second rower room it is.
Yeah. I think, back when the Cowboys had like Lukey playing and stuff
The
like that.
Lucy and I could catch everything. It's very,
Yeah,
very
very
similar.
similar.
I'm
Yeah.
interested to see if they can keep all of them. Because if they can,
That's a team that's going places.
that's a
And
very
they're still-
good, that's a very good young forward
yeah,
pack.
really, really good. And they've still got the old nuts on there as well, like
Yeah.
James Fisher Harris and all those people.
And it's
So,
not like this was a game where in my opinion, they deserved to win by the margin they did because they completed at 92%, which is
Yeah.
elite. They outgained Cronulla by 200 meters on somehow less runs of the ball.
yes,
And it's just awesome. And their goal line defense is absolutely elite.
it is. It is.
It is the best goal line defense in the league.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, they're just going so good. Nothing is going wrong for them at the moment,
nothing it is.
which is, it's great to see. I love the Warriors. It's such a good thing to see because they're also humble looking and stuff like that. They're not these people that get in your face like Jerome Luais and people like
I
that.
was wondering where that name is coming from.
But not just him. There are plenty of others, obviously, but he just seems to be the one in the forefront of most people's minds when it comes to that sort of thing. But they're humble with it. They just go out there and do their job,
To do their job.
and they do it well.
Very well.
So well done, Warriors.
Well done. I'm
I'm
happy
happy
with
you're killing it, mate. You're doing such a good job as coach.
You've coached for you two out of 3 years.
It'd be possible if they keep going the way they go.
I thought that happened. I wonder.
Probably Craig Bellamy.
Probably. Maybe Trent Robinson did it one of those years.
Well, perhaps.
I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, Warriors sitting on 10 wins. They're in third, I think.
They've got the second most wins, however.
Yeah, they're tied with the Bulldogs for wins.
Yeah.
It's just, they're an amazing team right now.
Yep.
And they don't have any signs of slowing down either.
No. They had that one blip with Canberra, but once again, we know Canberra are a team in form at the moment.
Well, both of those games.
It's the most recent one where they started actually showing a lot of form. I actually tipped them to beat Canberra down there in New Zealand. I thought, it was with a bit of luck, it could have happened too.
Yeah.
It just didn't go their way that night. It was still a very good game, but this one, I don't know what the Sharks do from here.
They're just the same team they have been for the past 4 years. They are the exact same. And that's not what you want to see. You want to see progression from a team that can't get over the hump.
Especially since they've got now a world-class forward in their forward pack. Like, world-class.
I don't think it's insane to say that they're playing worse than they have the past few years.
They are underperforming something fierce at the moment.
I don't know. Fitzgibbon needs to figure something out because otherwise,
They'll continue to slide.
I think if they make the finals and go out in straight sets again, he might not have a job because it's going to get very, very frustrating.
I mean, last year was the first time they didn't do that.
Because, Tim O'Brien at least has the excuse of his squad not being good for most of that period of time. The Cronulla roster, in my opinion, is a top 2 roster.
It is one of the best in the league.
And they're continually just not performing in the big games. And it's got to be frustrating as a fan, as someone in the administrative crew up there.
As coach, yeah.
You have to ask questions at some point whether this guy is the correct guy for this team. So I don't know what to do with Cronulla right now.
While they keep making finals, however, they're probably not going to sack him. That would look pretty stupid.
Yeah, I suppose.
But
They're going to be just the Roosters again, kind of.
Just making finals.
Making the finals, but never getting past the prelim, right?
Yeah.
So I guess we will see how that goes. What a weird season. Speaking of weird, the Broncos.
That was a stupid game of football.
Actually, no, sorry. I'm glad the NRL, between the Raiders, Bunnies, and Cronulla Warriors decided to throw in All Blacks versus Argentina.
Was so bad.
I love that jersey, though.
Oh, the jersey
It's
was
so good.
It just looked like an All Blacks jersey.
It did look like an All Blacks jersey, but unfortunately, it was an absolute mint jersey.
It was a good jersey, but
And for the right cause as well.
Yeah, it was. It was
We
really
had
good.
the Black Dog
Dog Institute. Yeah,
Such a good cause.
it is.
And Brisbane played well.
And scored off about 3 forward passes.
There were a lot of forward passes in this game. There were a lot. Touchdowns is ornamental.
You can train a monkey to do what they do.
I may legitimately try and become touchy. Honestly, I don't think I'd be that bad.
You don't need a lot of credentials, I don't think.
Exactly.
You just have to run alongside the game and go.
It's like you remember in the 2000s and 2010s where you have to collect the tops of cereal boxes and mail them in to get a prize. I imagine that's how most of these guys ended up with referee licenses or whatever they're called.
So bad.
It was bad. But I don't think that stops Brisbane winning this
No,
game.
the better team won. I'm not arguing that point. But they've got to get these things
They have to
right,
get them
man.
right. Because it's going to cost someone a finals game this year.
It will.
Book it now.
I mean,
Come back to this.
yes. Look, Brisbane were good. I thought,
Bruce Walsh was good.
yeah,
Yes, he was.
he was fine.
He played well.
Considering he'd come back just that week, he reckoned the reason he wanted to play was because it was Reynolds 300.
Why not?
That's fair enough.
That's fair.
And even though he was playing buggered by the end of it, he was limping around doing all sorts of
And he
stuff.
scored 2 tries on one leg.
Yeah, that just shows how bad the Titans.
I thought his passing game was really good. Because most of the forward passes weren't by him, they were by Ezra Mann
and Adam Reynolds.
and Reynolds. Well, I thought Reece Walsh was pretty good.
No, his passes were very, very good. Especially that one that went about 25 metres to hit the centre on the chest.
Oh, that was a good pass.
I actually appreciated that pass. And look, I'm quite happy to be wrong about him, but I still think he's a little overrated for what he can do at this point because he's just too rocks. And I think if he looked long and hard at himself, he'd say that he's probably rocks and diamonds at times as well.
Probably.
So you just got to be honest with yourself sometimes. If you want to improve, you've got to see where you are not doing where you need to be. He was good in his first game back, right? It was his first game back.
However, I don't think he was the best Broncos player, and the best Broncos player was honoured with a medal of some sort. I actually don't know what it was for, but Katoni Staggs was phenomenal. He is so good.
In terms of because some weeks he can be awful.
Yeah, he's kind of like Valentine Holmes.
Yeah, he's a bit like Valentine Holmes, maybe 5% better.
5%, 50% stronger.
No, he's definitely stronger. That's not.
Yeah, he was really good. Yeah. Most of the stuff from the first half for Brisbane came from Katoni Staggs barreling through Brian Kelly or whoever the centre was on that side.
They just had nothing in response. They couldn't compete.
I'm so sick of the Titans being terrible, man. They either need to turn it around or contract the franchise. He's supposed to be back post round 20. Yeah. Not even close.
See, I think they're missing him a lot at the moment.
Yeah, missing him quite a bit, but it's not.
No, it doesn't save him from this game, right? But what it does is it gives them another angle of attack, which at the moment they're missing quite badly.
I think
they've got Jaden Campbell.
They have Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson.
Brimson's not amazingly attacking, whereas Campbell is an X factor. We know this; he's very good. But once again, their forward pack was absolutely monstered out of this game.
Well, if you're going to be monstered by any forward pack, I think Brisbane is a fair one to be done by.
But I mean, this is Tino Fa'asuamaleaui and everything too. And although to be fair, I mean, he played well.
I don't think he did all that much.
No, but he kind of was nullified a bit by Payne Haas being Payne Haas, right?
And then he just left the Pat Carrigan left to do whatever the hell he wants.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully he can do that for Origin. We'll talk about that later.
Origin a bit. I'm very surprised Des Hasler still has a job after this.
That was terrible. He's still got hair after this.
He's going to be fired in the next month, I think.
Well, I will see. I mean,
although then it depends on how much they want to pay him out, because I think there's this weird clause in his contract that if they don't make the finals this year, they can just terminate him immediately. It's a matter of how much they want to pay him out. They may just let him stick out the year and let the Titans finish with 4 wins or something.
That's all they're going to get.
That's all they're going to get, really. There wasn't anything good in this game for them, in my opinion. It was all just kind of meh. I mean, Loffy is okay. I thought he played okay. That's about it. And Brian Kelly was attacking-wise anyway.
I think the second half was okay. First half, he kind of was.
I do think Brisbane was monster. Well, Brisbane, I think, kind of put the cue in the rack in the second half. They were up 28-0 at halftime. I think they could afford to do that.
Yeah, so they almost scored the same amount of points in the second half.
Yeah, it was fairly equal. I think Brian Kelly is a great attacking footballer. His defensive decision-making is just baffling to me, though.
Pretty woeful. Yeah. Makes it hard for the wingers then, too.
I guess the only bad thing for Brisbane is the injury to Big Ben Takura, who did his ankle. I think he'll probably miss 4 to 6 weeks because the syndesmosis injury.
Yeah, just
rugby league injury buzzwords.
It's a high ankle sprain. Just call it what it is. Syndesmosis, you're going to see I'm smart. I use big words so I sound photosynthesis.
Yeah, very funny.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like what they're trying to do. It's just a sprain, which can take a while to fix. That's the way it is. He's been good.
Yeah.
Wilson's been
Xavier
good.
Wilson's been good. Brendan Piakura's surprised me the past few weeks. I think he's been playing very well.
Yeah, you know who hasn't? Jordan Ricky.
So he's bad.
He is terrible.
He has been quite good.
Kick him off. He's just a pretty boy anyway.
Funny.
But yeah,
I think Sheldon Cobbo.
who does apparently. So
Is that the Josiah Karapani guy? I thought played pretty well.
he did. He was out on the back of some forward passes, but apart from that, some good attacking.
Some very good attacking
Yeah,
takes, yeah.
certainly worked well.
This is what we know Brisbane can be. They have great attacking weapons, and their defense can be good. Granted, they were playing the Titans, but
you can't read a huge amount into this game. Wait till they play somebody decent again and see what happens, yeah?
we'll see how that goes.
But yeah, no.
Three Queensland teams in the top 8.
Yes! The bottom part of the top 8. We're still there. Yeah. It's like the meme you see with all the steps, and you got this person on top, and you we're on the podium.
Yeah, good.
Kind of. But one of us will drop out next week. Yeah. Maybe all of us will drop out next week.
I'm going to try and not rant about the Titans, because I could rant a lot about the Titans.
No, there's no point.
There's no point.
They're bad,
and they're not getting better. Yes, hopefully. Hopefully they can do something. I need signs of life from them, please.
Missing at least. Well, both Furman was back in the pack.
Yeah, Furman was back in the
team again. For any other team at this point.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Okay, Raiders Bunnies.
Yeah, the Raiders won.
What are the Raiders?
Well, yeah.
Bunnies suck.
Look, they got up for big Josh Papali'i, and good for him.
He scored twice.
A goal. A screamer of a goal, really. He nailed it.
Not better than half the goal kickers kicking at the moment. So
want him to be our goal kicker.
That would be nice. We've got nobody who can kick goals.
Yeah, no one.
Muzz. We need to give Muzz anyway. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw such a good game.
He played a good game too.
Everybody loves Josh.
I don't. Yeah. If Josh Papali'i has no fans, I'm dead.
He doesn't have any enemies, I don't think.
No,
everybody likes him.
He's one of the league's best.
And nicest characters. He's so softly spoken when you hear him talk. He's a huge man of it. He's like, yeah. It's like, you're like these Maori guys who are massive and talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Want to go to church with us, bro?
Yeah, I thought Josh was really good in this game. I thought Joe Tapani having his minutes managed now that it's like his 14th game straight or something is fair. But I thought while he was on the field, he was effective. Corey Horsburgh played well in an extended minutes role, really, with the loss of Savelio Tamale.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah.
Bill's out for 10 to 12 weeks, I think.
Basically the end of the season.
It's essentially the end of the season unless they make finals. This is the kneecaps suck.
But they probably will make finals, to be fair.
I think they will, but it's a matter of whether they risk him or not.
Yeah, I know.
He's an excellent player.
Yeah.
You don't want him to...
He's one of those big meter eaters, right? He busts tackles. Like,
he's very in the mold of like the Jacob Carraz, I think, is probably his best comparison.
Yeah, I think he's a bit stronger in the legs than Jacob, but I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I can remember those years where Jacob Carraz led the league in post-contact meters. Those were fun.
Yeah,
but yeah, it is very unfortunate for the Raiders to lose. Who is one of the brighter young wingers right now?
I think that happened fairly early on, didn't it? And they
had to play Simi Sasani at centre for a lot of this game.
Didn't seem fun.
And I thought he played well. Surprisingly, he played well. However, I think my man in the match for this was Ethan Strange. He had a blinder.
He actually pretty well single-handedly pulled the Raiders back into the game because the Bunnies
they were up 12-0. They were up 12-0, and I was thinking, okay, yes, the Bunnies are announcing themselves as actual top 4 threats. And then they died.
And it started with the Ethan Strange solo try.
Yeah.
He just busted through people and
he's so strong, isn't
he? He doesn't look it right, but he is a very strong player. And that was a very good try. And I thought, wow, there we go.
And he showed off that he can kick goals.
Yes,
because they rested Jamal Fogarty's kicking leg this week. So Ethan Strange went 5-5. How good.
Nice when you've got that up your sleeve, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of become a habit for the Raiders to do the comeback kid thing, which is the opposite of the faders tag they've been so affectionately...
the Cowboys have passed that on to them, apparently. Well, they can't do that.
That's why we get along so well.
They played very, very well. Bunnies, not much went well.
I mean, Keon was good.
Keon was
He's
always good. Yeah. And how is he not in the New South Wales team?
He was worried about it, an idiot.
It's just dumb.
It is dumb. It's strange. I don't know. They looked good in that first 25 minutes. And I was thinking, okay, cool. Cody Walker's back. Jack Whiten's back. They were combining quite well down that left edge. I thought, okay, cool. This is great. And then they just kind of got tired. They looked really tired towards the end of the first half, and it kept going in the second. And then Cody Walker got hurt, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, and then Canberra just went.
It went over them.
Yeah.
It went over the top of them.
Yeah.
South's bench couldn't match it.
No. Canberra are the real deal by the looks.
They are the real deal. Happy with the real deal.
Won the most games in the comp so far.
I want the NRL to capitulate when the Canberra Raiders and the New Zealand Warriors play each other in a grand final. How good would that be?
Yeah, they'll totally implode.
I will buy a ticket to go watch it. I will 100% do that, just to stick it to the NRL, trying to push all the big market teams there. No, you get Canberra and New Zealand.
Yeah. And you still get 80,000 people to watch it.
Oh, yeah. It's not like a lot of people. It's the neutrals' delight game.
You get a lot of New Zealand fans. I don't worry about that.
How good would that be?
That would sound so good in the stands.
Yeah, absolutely. The big issue for the Rabbits right now is some ill discipline. They can't complete sets consistently, and they miss a lot of tackles. Quite unfortunately, actually. With no fault to Keon Kawamatangi, who missed none and made 48. But no one else was really that good.
Very well, yeah.
I thought the second rowers played well. Ewan Aiken and Talis Duncan, I thought, played quite well.
They always do.
They combined for over 200 metres and 90 tackles or something. They played well. It's just that, I don't know. They don't look fit, which is extremely strange for a Wayne Bennett side. But they looked really tired at the end of that game.
Well, they're going to work something out because the slide might start. It's not going to get any easier for them.
No, not at all. Their run home is not fun.
So games that they should be winning, although it is Canberra, to be fair, it wasn't a game they should win, but it was a game they should have put up a little bit better an effort than that.
Look, yeah, I think
because they scored no points after 25 minutes.
No, it was over. Yeah, it was 36 unanswered for the Raiders. So
well done, Raiders.
Well done, Raiders.
Very, very well.
Yeah.
South is a bit of soul searching.
They get to move into the bye now as well.
Yeah.
11 wins.
So
they're in the box seat for the minor premiership right now, in my opinion, anyway.
They've got to keep it up, but they've been keeping it up so far.
Yeah, they've showed no signs of slowing down.
No,
very similar to the Warriors.
Yeah.
So I guess
they're the two form teams, I think, at the moment.
We'll see who drops off first, if any of them do.
It'll be interesting, won't it?
I am very curious. And I'm curious to see if the Rabbits can find any sort of consistent form. They need more out of Latrell. They really do.
Yeah.
I've always been like one of the biggest proponents that Latrell is a truly great player, but in games like this, as soon as something kind of doesn't go their way, he disappears.
Yep.
And he needs to not do that because he is so important to this crew.
And that's the mental toughness that he still needs to somehow work on. I mean, he's been playing football for a while now. He should have it.
You think so? Yeah, he's been in the league for 7, 8 years now, I think.
That's a long
He's
time.
He's been around. So you'd hope that he developed that, but he hasn't yet.
No, it's a bit sad, really.
Mm.
But he did have a lot of bad years in there as well with his psychological issues. So
yeah, exactly. So, look, making a little tough.
I hope he can because, like you say, I actually agree he's a very good footballer. I just think he's lazy at times and fades in and out of games, and that's not useful. You need to be in the game 100%.
Especially when you're like you are the outlet which everything comes from with this team. Like, all of their attack goes through him and his passing game. All of their field position goes through him and his truly incredible long distance kicking game. That is one thing he did very well in this game.
He's probably the only one who can put it to Moses as the most accurate long kicker because
he lets them in the in goal nearly every time.
He doesn't know how to do that.
He does very, very well. So he just needs to do that for longer periods in games, especially ones where you do get those momentum swings against you.
Because it got a bit showery in this game.
He did rain a little bit, yes.
So I guess 36 points is a very good score, but in rain.
Yeah. But yeah, good job, Raiders. Rabbits, I'm a little bit concerned. I still think they'll probably make the 8, but I guess we'll see how they go.
It'll be
They need to
tight.
stay healthy.
It will be a tight run to the bottom 4 of the 8, I think.
Oh,
So,
it's all going to come down to for and against.
or the
I
fact
guarantee
that
it.
some teams have a draw, which makes them with that one extra point.
Well, yeah, it's either going to keep them in or out.
Out, yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Yes, we will see. Speaking of the draw, Penrith winning in admittedly controversial fashion.
Yeah, wasn't there something with Bull during Buller run towards the end there that was controversial?
There was the big one I think that people got up in arms about was the late tackle penalty on Jerome Luai for his hit on Blaise Talani, which his foot was still on the ground when he got hit.
Yeah, it wasn't late.
There was
And
no
he wrapped the arms and all this stuff. There was nothing wrong with what he
issue
did.
with that tackle at all. It was a bad call, and it did arguably
Change the momentum.
Penrith this game.
Yeah, it changed the momentum of the game.
It changed the momentum of the game. It put them up 2 points.
Yeah.
It's a very frustrating call, and I agree with Benji where he said that he didn't think his players got a fair crack at this game.
I agree.
I'm in complete agreement with him.
There were a lot of the rub of the green definitely went with the Panthers in this game, so which is not good because I thought the Tigers actually played pretty well.
Well, their first half I thought was excellent. I thought Jerome Luai was really thinking it to Penrith.
I love the fact that he hit Cleary twice.
That was so good. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, it has to.
It's got to feel good.
They're all friends after the game having a chat or whatever, but he loved hitting him in the middle.
And look, if you're going to be chirpy in a game, I think this is the time you can do it. Is when
you're playing your old team.
An old team, you put a bunch of shots on like some of your old playmakers.
Yeah.
You can chirp. I have no issue with how he was.
No, but I don't even think he was that bad, to be fair.
I thought he tried to go about it fairly professionally for most of it.
Overall, he was not too bad. And look, the Tigers, he missed it by this much, guys. And like we said, it could have come down to that one call.
Yeah.
Because it was close.
It was very close. They only lost by 4 points.
Yeah, it was one try. Yeah. Well, actually, it was the kicking. Because Cleary hit everything, and he didn't.
Yeah.
You know? So I think they had the same number of tries in the game.
Actually, hold on, let me double check that.
3 tries apiece.
It may have been. Terrell May did his usual thing of being Terrell May.
Of course, and he still can't get
Came in New South Wales.
He can't even get in a squad.
I don't understand it. I don't understand.
You should be at least blooding him into the squad. I don't care. You know, I mean, don't put him in. I don't care because he's very freaking good. So
you are correct. It was 3 tries.
So it was that close a game.
It was that close, yeah.
And they nearly stole it with about a minute and a half to go when Buller got stopped.
That close.
I didn't think he really was running as fast as at that point.
And he actually wasn't even playing for 79 minutes.
And he put the foot down. I don't think Sorensen catches him. I mean, that's
fair. That's fair. Scott Sorensen catching him is. There's controversy around that one as well. Because it may or may not have been a hip drop. I don't think he did because I don't think he landed on his ankles at all.
It would be interesting to see. I didn't actually see that, to be fair, but
he did it fairly well where he managed to go like over his legs and like tackle side by side rather than behind him.
He was so close. I mean, Tigers went within 15 twice of pulling this game out. Right? So, good game of football.
I thought Gerard Skelton was good in his first game back for the Tigers in a while. Mm-hmm. He's a really important piece. I've realised he's very similar. Like we brought up the Tamales before. He's in a very similar mold, except he can hit in defence. Mm-hmm. And then he put some shot. That shot he did on Isaac Tungo was glorious. What a shot.
To a shot made by another player in a different game.
Yes.
The Dogs. Yes. But we'll talk about
that. For Penrith, star of the show, Tom Jenkins.
Oh, yeah. He scored all their tries.
Yes. It's amazing what happens when Casey McLean figures out how to pass, hey?
Well, sometimes it went past Casey McLean. He only had to do that once.
No, all of Jenkins' stuff.
One was a kick, I think.
One was a kick. Jenkins set up a lot of them as well by just doing 50-metre line breaks. Yeah, right. He was immense in this game.
I think maybe the better team won, but they were still lucky to do it. I think it was very close.
I agree. I think
You know that Luai is a bit like in an attack Munster. He sort of just runs around and looks at the gaps and stuff.
I think that's a fair comparison. He kind of does just wander around
and then go, okay, I'll pass it to you now. Or I'll try and go through this gap.
Yeah.
I
will give credit to Penrith's goal line defense for the majority of this game. I thought it was very, very good.
Yeah.
And their desperation to get back to the few kicks was excellent. That's what you want to see from a team that needs to win. So that's at least something that you can say wasn't a product of a bad refereeing decision.
Yeah. Oh, look, and I'm not taking that away from them. It's no secret that I don't like the Panthers, but, I guess they deserve to win just.
Yeah.
Which is why they only just won.
Yeah, exactly. They sit in 13th now. They have 5 wins on the season. It's something.
Yeah. They're not out of calculations, but
5 wins doesn't put them out of calculations at all.
If they go back on a losing streak again, they could be in trouble.
They do need to keep winning.
Yeah.
That is something they do need to do. So I guess we will see if they can continue to do that. The Tigers falling away a little bit now.
Although this game, I thought they were better than against the Cowboys. I thought they actually...
Yes, they played better despite scoring half the points. Yeah.
Yeah, but,
they actually looked in this game for the majority of
the game. It wasn't...
They went with Penrith.
And they went within a 15th of winning. That's what I'm saying. So it was a good game.
Both these teams ended this round on 5 wins. I'm intrigued to see where they both go from here, to be perfectly honest.
I hope the Tigers do all right.
I hope they do okay. They deserve to have at least some modicum of success.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll see. Now, final game of the round, Bulldogs-Eels. The Dogs were too good in this one.
Yeah.
Very easily, because Parramatta could not hold on to the ball at all. Yeah. It was not
nothing that Moses could actually do to fix it.
Yeah.
Except for, flopping on the ground like a felled fish.
He gave it off.
Good.
Yeah, I'm very happy he did.
He didn't even deserve to be penalised, let alone anything else.
Yeah, he didn't. He was going to be suspended, and he fought it. He got off it.
You could see that Moses threw himself on the ground.
Yes, I do agree.
He bumped it and he went.
He played it for all it was worth. Absolutely.
That's how Moses plays.
He does. He is a bit of a penalty merchant, isn't he?
It's unfortunate because he doesn't need to be. It's another one of these things where you don't need to. You are a good player. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to punish your own history by...
No, his history is tarnished by the fact that he plays for Parramatta.
Well, I guess there is that too. To be fair, without him, Paris stuck.
Yes, because the rest of the team was bad in this game.
Yeah.
The rest of the spine was bad. I thought Dylan Brown was really poor.
Yeah.
Isaiah Iongi couldn't really do much. I thought Riley Smith was fairly uninspiring. The second rowers weren't great. They're revolving door they have there. I still don't know what they're doing with Jermaine Hopgood. It's quite, this team should be half decent. It's frustrating that they're not.
Yeah. And I was talking about a hit before. Was one of the wingers that came in and absolutely pole-lashed Bailey Simonson. Yeah.
Oh, that was a good shot.
Yeah, he just came in
Marcelo Montoya
hit him and he stopped dead. It was like, and the guy who was running didn't keep moving.
Yeah, Marcelo didn't move. He just got in there and let it go.
Boom. And Simonson I think he was a bit stunned. What? He got up and played and he just sat there going, around.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think
Parramatta got up. So
the big issue for Parramatta in this game was the fact that they could not complete sets. Yes, it was raining, but the Bulldogs were also playing in the rain and they still completed sets.
Lots of the Bulldogs, right? They're having a good year.
Yeah, that second half was really bad. I think they completed it 53% in the second half.
Yeah,
and they only had 36% of the ball. It was not good. They need Dylan Walker on the field more, is what I've decided.
Although he was even a bit...
They seem better with ball movement when he's in the team, though. So that's at least something. I think there was a stat a couple of weeks ago that their points scored versus points conceded when Dylan Walker's on the field is immensely good compared to when he's not on the field. So maybe they do need to put him in more. I'd almost start him, maybe, and bring Hopgood off the bench.
Yeah,
that he's at least versatile enough you can move him through the whole forward pack. So maybe that's what you do. Good crowd, but that's what happens when you
make the tickets a quarter of their normal price.
Yeah.
Or less.
If they're not losing money by doing that, do it all the time.
Yeah, well. When they've got 59.
How good is it to have 60,000 people in a stadium? It's the annoying thing about Accor Stadium. They have teams that play there that no one likes. Because it's the Bunnies and the Bulldogs.
So you've got 5,000 people showing up, or even 10,000 in an 80,000 seat
And
stadium.
it looks really bad. It's a bad optics thing.
Yeah.
Whereas when you have this, it looks really good.
It sounds
And
good.
it's a great atmosphere.
Well done, Bulldogs. Lots of things to like about your play. You've got the best captain in the competition.
And they
You've got
have
a very good coach.
And
And Galvin scored, of course, on his debut for the Bulldogs.
argument number 756 as to why the NRL is scripted. 755 was just Papali'i scoring 2 tries.
Which could have been a big.
One of them wasn't a try. I'm going to stand by that. His second try was not a try.
Well, they called him in, but they called it.
Yeah, it was stupid. I thought that, actually, speaking of that, Fox League really pissed me off. Because they do this thing every week where they bring up what they think is the best moment of the round. They selected Lockie Galvin's try and not just Papali'i's entire game.
Yeah.
Why?
That's wrong.
How good? You could have at least picked Papali'i kicking the goal.
Yeah, that would have been.
Like, how cool would that be? But no, you had to pick Lockie Galvin, one of the league villains right now.
Really. And he's got a terrible haircut.
He has a terrible haircut.
Yes.
Did you say it looks like? I can't remember his
Guy
name.
from Tropic Thunder.
Yes, Simple Jack.
Simple Jack.
Simple Jack. That's
Yeah.
what he looks like.
He does look like Simple Jack.
Does look good. I thought, to be fair, like I'm going to stop bagging Lockie Galvin because he's a good player. I thought when he came on, he looked pretty good in this game.
Yeah, he was fine. Okay.
Their rotation was really strange. I didn't expect them to move Sexton to 9 and bring Reed Marnie off to bring.
Yeah, me neither.
But Sexton, I thought, looked all right playing dummy half, to be honest.
Marnie did what he had to do.
Marnie did what he had to do. I thought that Jacob Carraz coming back.
He was excellent.
Jacob Carraz,
Hard to handle.
what he does.
Offloads at will. All these really cool things.
I thought the Max King was excellent in this game.
Yes.
He kind of vindicated the origin selection with this. He ran for 229 meters or something. He had 27 tackles, no misses. He played very, very well. My man Harry Hayes, once again proving that he is amazing and that he should be playing more. Let this man either play more minutes or let him go somewhere that's going to appreciate him. He is such a good player.
That's the thing with the Bulldogs. They've
got so many.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah, well, good luck to them.
Yeah,
They're still winning.
they are still winning.
They're still on top of the table.
Yeah.
That's for the time being.
For the time being, until this week, I reckon. Because I think Canberra will go in front of them. Well, do the Bulldogs have the bye this week? I actually don't remember. Maybe they do, actually. Maybe Canberra have to wait a couple of weeks. Oh, no, the Bulldogs... No, they do play this week. Okay, so maybe Canberra will go in front of them. We'll see how they go.
Whether they win or not.
This is true, I suppose. But yeah, I'm interested to see how Lachlan Galvin fits into this team long term.
And look, they're always going to take a little while to get it where he wants to be or where they want him to be. So it's going to take a little bit of time. Just get him in there and get him a run around like they did on the weekend, and we can work it out as we go.
See how it goes. Yeah. So that's the end of round 14, halfway through the year. Round 15 now. Sharks, Dragons.
It's going to be a short one because we've got
Yeah, it's only
5.
Yeah, there's only like 5 games this week.
Yeah.
So Sharks, Dragons at Shark Park. Yeah.
I don't really know.
They would be Cronulla.
It should be, but
So for Cronulla, Ronaldo Mulapalo returns from suspension,
that helps.
which pushes Maywin Hiroti to the centres to cover the injury to Kale Iro. With Valentine Holmes named in Origin, Corey Allen moves to the centres and Tyrell Sloan comes onto the wing, replacing the injured Christian Tuipulotu for the Dragons.
Yep.
Emre Gula returns at prop, pushing Jack DeBellum to lock and Hamish Stewart back to the bench. Luciano starts in the second row for Raven Faitala Mariner. Hame Sele comes onto the bench for his first game of the season. The Sharks have won the past 4 here. I'm expecting no different.
They should if they can turn around last week.
Like I said, they don't know how to be good teams. I don't class the Dragons as a good team.
That's fair.
This will be one of those games where they win by 20 points without looking particularly enterprising. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the Sharks win this one pretty comfortably.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. It is the Shark Park too, which I guess doesn't mean too much, but it's got to account for something at
I
least.
think so.
Yeah. Titans Seagulls. This should be not entertaining at all.
This will be a poo slinger.
So with Tino and Fosawaika on Origin duties, Cleese Haas starts at lock, and Isaac Basul Malawi joins the bench. Tiny Tino, along with debutant alert Josh Patson.
Who?
I don't know. And Tuki Kumia Simpkins, who hasn't played NRL since 2021. So the Titans are really scraping the bottom of the barrel now.
I'm going to reserve judgment until I see how they play.
Okay. Turbo is back for like the 5th time this year, along with Jason Saab. So Clayton Faulalo moves to the reserves. CSU Takayaho also returns, pushing Jazz Tavunga to the bench and Toa Sipley to the 18th man. Manly have won 4 of their last 5 at Seabus, which is weird. It's kind of Titans are weird. They don't play well at home, but they play decently away. I think they've won the past 2 games they played against Manly at Brookfield.
That's because at Seabus, they have 5 fans.
It's true. It sucks, doesn't it? This is all boo day.
Yeah, the Eagles will win.
The Eagles will win by a lot.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a similar scoreline to how the Broncos-Titans game played.
Yeah, I suggest so.
Because the
Titans would have to flick some sort of massive switch to change it. And
I don't even know what they need to do at this point.
Not lose.
Look, Carter Gordon in. Where's he? Oh, no, he had that weird spinal injury thing.
Okay.
So I don't know what they're going to do with him.
Not very good.
Yes, Eagles by a lot.
Okay. Yes, I agree. Yeah. Knights and Chooks.
Knights Chooks. This game will be intriguing.
Well, if they both play...
It is at McDonald Jones, so that's
the potential the Chooks will win.
Probably. Especially with Kalen Ponga not here because of Origin.
I'm going out there and saying the Chooks will win.
I think you're right. So for Newcastle, as I said, Kalen Ponga is playing Origin, so Fletcher Sharp moves to fullback. And Jackson Hastings, who somehow hasn't been offered as a human sacrifice by the Novocastrians yet, starts at 5'8".
He is bad.
Newcastle hate him. Like, the Knights hate him. I can only imagine the amount of, oh no, we have to play him this week. I would have been fly on the wall for that conversation.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Matt Croker moves to prop for the concussed Tyson Frizzell, and Matt Arthur joins the bench. For the Roosters, Sam Walker returns. Huge for them. Sandon Smith is the one who's displaced to the bench. Hugo Savala stays at 5'8". I didn't expect that to happen.
I mean, neither because Sandon Smith has been going...
He's been
kicking goals, but of course...
He has the versatility to be a 9 is the big thing for Sandon Smith. And when they have Benjamin Iolo, who knew...
I guess that's why they were talking with the Sandon Smith thing, maybe looking at coming to the Cowboys as a 9. I don't know what that. But... It's still a possibility, I suppose.
It's possible. I don't know. So, yeah, he's playing 14. Rob Toy is in Origin, so Nwangani Tawasi moves to the centres, and Dominic Young comes back on the wing. In more big returns for the Roosters, now Fahu White and Nat Butcher are back.
Right.
White starts at prop, Nat Butcher comes off the bench.
Yeah.
Egan Butcher starts for Angus Crichton, who's been called in the New South Wales camp, and Zach Docker-Clay comes onto the bench. Newcastle have lost their last 4 against the Roosters in McDonald Jones Stadium.
I don't see it changing this week.
I think this could be closer than people think.
I don't think it's going to be
I think the Roosters will win. I do think it'll be one of those games where Newcastle will come out a bit more enthusiastic than the Roosters do, but the Roosters will just get over the top of them by sheer class and personnel available.
Yeah,
I think is what I think is going to happen here. But it could also be the Roosters win by 40. So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If the Roosters finish over.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, Knights.
I've got the Roosters by 8.
Yeah, I'd say by a little bit more, but that's
fair. I've been underestimating a lot of gaps recently, so you're probably right.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
Kind of like this one, I think.
So good.
Kind of like this with the Cowboys playing the Dolphins at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. We'll see. Tom Dearden, Ruben Cotter, Jeremiah Nanai, and Reece Robson are all in Origin, as well as John Bateman and Vilea being suspended for the week. So we've got a very interesting-looking Cowboys team this week. So, here we go. Scott Drinkwater is the captain for the first time in his entire career. Murray Tainui is back on the wing. Ty O'Donnell and Jason Tamalolo are back in the starting 13. O'Donnell starting on the edge with Sam McIntyre. We've got Caden Lars joining the bench for his debut. Braden Burns is coming into the centres. Jake Clifford is returning at 7. I don't know why. And Tom McHaley also rejoins the bench.
Well, I don't mind some of that.
Some of it's okay. Some of the
I
close.
like McHaley being there. I like the fact that Tamalolo is back.
He's playing lock as well, which
Which is his
I do
preferred
like.
position,
I
yeah.
do like that.
Gives him a bit more freedom of movement.
He gives him some ball playing, which is good.
Yeah, which he can do, yeah. And Muzz being back is always a bonus.
I'm so happy to see Caden Lars here.
Yes, I want to see how well he
I
goes.
want him to go really, really well.
So do I. His
And
dad was so
here's the
good.
thing, against Dolphins forward pack that is decimated beyond belief right now, he could really have a coming out party.
He could.
He really could. And Tom McHaley could maybe cement a spot in this team.
It would be nice.
There is opportunities in this game for the Cowboys to look really good.
Mm-hmm.
Will they? Probably not, because they still can't defend. The Dolphins are going to win by scoring more points, in my opinion. They have Hammer being in Origin, so Jake Avarillo shifts to fullback, and Max Fiona comes into the centres.
Not losing a lot.
Ray Stone comes in to fill the void left by the injured Max Platt.
Mm-hmm.
The away team seems to always win when it's Cowboys-Dolphins. The Cowboys are the home team here.
Yeah, well, let's see.
The Cowboys suck marginally more than the Dolphins do, so the Dolphins win.
Well,
I scored lots of points.
while I agree that the Dolphins probably have more points in them, I still think the Cowboys need to show something.
I'm very intrigued to see how Drinkwater goes as captain because he's very chirpy. He talks
Talks
a lot,
so
so maybe it's a good decision.
it could be.
I've always wanted them to do this. I've always wanted them to make Drinkwater the captain because he's the one that talks the most. It's him and Jordan McLean that talk the most.
They're probably the two talky ones, right?
Exactly. So I do think that's a good call.
Yeah. And he's at the back, and he can,
Yeah.
he scans the field and all that kind of stuff. So he does that.
That's fine. However, his inconsistency and I think his tendency to get a little bit
Hold under the collar.
yeah, might not help as much.
I hope he manages to hold himself. Being captain, it might show some bit of responsibility.
Yeah, hopefully. I'd love to see it.
Look, I think once again, both teams played to potential and the Cowboys win, but the Cowboys haven't played to potential for a number of months.
Years even.
I think they kind of did against the Titans, I suppose, where they put 50 on them, right?
So kind of 18-0, which wasn't.
That wasn't great, but then at least they managed to say, right, this is stupid. Now, we can beat these guys.
This is good. That is a good point. However, was the Titans.
Yeah, I know. But that was before we knew how bad the Titans were.
But you can look retrospectively and say, yeah, they probably didn't take all that much.
Yeah.
So I guess we will see. The Cowboys, to win this game, need to play through the forwards.
Yes, they need to go on the guts.
Weakness.
Yes, and the Cowboys, to be fair,
You're not going to go around them. The Dolphins are too quick for that.
Owen Hesse is on a tear at the moment.
Starting this week as well.
McLean has been amazingly good the last 3 or 4 weeks. And like I said, they get their spiritual leader back at least in Jason Tamalolo. So
yeah, look, there's definitely a path to the Cowboys winning this game, and I think it's somewhat likely. I just don't.
Look, I understand where you're coming from because the Dolphins have been playing so well, right?
Yeah,
and their halfback is great, and they've got speed all over the park. That's going to concern the Cowboys a little bit. That's why I agree with you. They have to smash them up the middle so they tire them all out.
Yeah, the first 15 minutes are so integral for this game.
If it's 0-0 after 15, that's a good thing for the Cowboys probably. If it's anything with the Dolphins being up 2 tries or something, it's going to be all over the park, shouting almost straight away.
Yeah.
So the Cowboys either need to be in front or equal after 15, 20 minutes. And maybe even in front by halftime.
My concern is that Isaiah Katoa is going to kick them to death.
Well, he pretty will.
That's what I think is most likely going to happen, but I guess we will see how they go.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a Cowboys win.
I just hope it's a good game, to be perfectly honest.
And here's the deal, right? We've got 3 Queensland teams in the top 8. It could very easily. Are the Broncos on bye this week?
I think so. I think they are.
Well, they won't fall out of the 8 necessarily, but one of either the Dolphins or the Cowboys will.
Probably going to drop out. Yeah.
So, or we'll finish in 8th.
Yeah, Brisbane have the bye this week.
So both these teams want to win to stay in front of them.
Yeah. You want to get wins over the origin period. That's just how it is.
And look, I think the Cowboys still have a fairly strong team. They just need to make sure that they're playing as a team.
Yes.
Not just
guys
running around.
I like Braden Burns being in. I think he's very, very solid defensively. I think he's good out of yardage.
And he's pretty good in the air.
Man, I just need Jack Slater to learn how to tackle.
Yeah, I know. We're going to get that.
Because if he's matched up against Herbie Farnworth, that's a concern. I'm shifting to the other side and putting him on Fiona and let Burns try and handle Farnworth.
Maybe.
At least Burns can tackle him.
Whatever happens, I hope it's a good game.
I hope so.
Either way.
I also hope this is a good game because these fans hate each other. Bunnies Bulldogs at Accor Stadium because this would be played nowhere else besides maybe Mudgee or something. Okay, so Gosford. So for the Rabbits, Latrell Mitchell is in Origin, so Jai Gray starts at fullback.
Which is good for them as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree. With Cody Walker's injury, Bud Sullivan starts at 5'8", Humpty plays at 7, Davy Mawali joins the bench. Campbell Graham is named at 19 as he tries to return from, I think, a back spasm issue that's plagued him the past couple of weeks, which sucks. For the Bulldogs, Matt Burton is named as the 18th man for New South Wales, so he can't play this week, meaning Lockie Galvin gets his first shot playing 5'8" for this crew.
That's really interesting.
Stephen Crichton and Max King are also playing in Origin, so Jacob Carraz moves to centre. That may not happen, though, because he's also been called into Origin camp just in case Brian Toto can't play. So watch this space for that.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes for them. For now, Carraz is playing centre. Blake Wilson comes onto the wing. Josh Curran moves to starting prop, and Jacob Preston is back just in time to fill that second row void.
Yeah.
Jake Turpin and Curtis Morin join the bench, as well as the absence of Kurt Mann playing Origin.
Yes.
The Dogs have lost more cattle to Origin, but the Bunnies' defence is not good enough for me to justify picking them in any sort of capacity here.
And it's the system rather than just the team, right? The dog system is fine.
It is, yes, I agree.
The Serraldos come from the Penrith area, so it's next man up, right? And
yes.
They'll have that. Tikau got off, so he'll be playing.
Yeah, yes, that's always good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think the Doggies win.
That'll wrap up our previews for round 15 of the NRL. Now we can do previews for Origin 2 at Optus Stadium. I have thoughts.
I have a lot of concerns.
Yeah. Okay, so for Queensland, the obvious big bombshell was amicable split between Queensland and Daly Cherry Evans. That's what we'll say it was. So,
it was probably anything but that's okay.
I have no doubt that there's some animosity there now. So, Tom Dearden, miraculously, is now an Origin halfback. For some reason.
Yeah.
So he joined.
That's just because Munster's not going anywhere.
He joins new captain Cameron Munster in the halves. Valentine Holmes and Hamiso have swapped positions, so now Hamiso's playing on the wing, which I don't.
I prefer that actually. So it was Valentine Holmes is a centre by trade now, so
yeah,
and Hammer is a fullback. So I mean, winger is more like a fullback than centre is.
Hammer is certainly something.
Oh yeah, we need to get him in the clear somewhere.
The most baffling decision, actually, there's two really baffling decisions.
No Corey
Horsburgh, which means Trent Loiero was still on the team. And he's starting at lock.
And somehow Fermor doesn't make it back into the team.
Because we need to drop Bo Fermor, who's missed 21 tackles all season, for the guy who's currently leading the NRL in missed tackles.
75 or something, yeah.
He's 20 more than the next guy. Why is he here? This one really confounds me. I don't know why he's here.
I don't know, maybe a hard nut on the field, perhaps. Maybe that's what they're
Corey Horsburgh in there.
I realise this. I'm just trying to spitball here as to why they would have put Capewell in.
Bring Pat Carrigan off the bench is dumb.
Yes.
You have like 3 locks in your team, and you somehow pick the worst one to be the starting lock. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah. Maybe the only thing I can think of is Loiera's not bad in defence. Maybe he just does the defending for 20 minutes and then Carrigan can come on and wreak havoc.
I think maybe what they might do is they're going to play like the first 20 minutes in the way that they do. Pat Carrigan will come on and they'll bring Kurt Capewell off and shift Loiero to the edge, maybe. But they have Jeremiah Nanai on the bench now, so I don't know how that's going to work.
I don't know why they put him on the bench. I mean, he was probably Queensland's best player in the first
second row on the bench. They just put Cotter on the bench.
Yeah.
He can cover more of the forward pack.
That's true.
It's confusing. And also, Ezra Mam is the 18th man, but, you know.
Yeah, that is the fingers. I'm sorry. Read the room. Nobody wants Ezra Mam in the Origin team.
Yeah, it's bad.
He's going to get booed just by walking anywhere near the first
It's going
line.
to be insane to see Queensland fans booing Ezra Mam.
And to be fair,
I will be
there's going to be more Queensland fans in Perth than there will be New South Wales.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
because everybody apparently hates New South Wales for reasons.
Well, so Jack Howard is now on the reserve.
Yes, I saw that.
Why not?
There was somebody
Just
else
pick random-
called up as well.
It's Corey Osborne, isn't it?
No, in the New South Wales team.
Oh yeah, that Lindsay Smith guy from Penrith, which I do like. I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
Speaking of New South Wales, now that they have to cover the loss of Mitch Barnett, they get Max King starting at prop and Stefano Utoikamanu comes onto the bench.
Yeah.
So,
Bum.
oh no.
What a horrible thing to happen.
And that's the only change.
Yeah.
Really, Burton's the 18th. But there's nothing there. Keon and Lindsay Smith round out the reserves with obviously the aforementioned Homole Olakawatu becoming a dad.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Well, I reckon somebody would have called up otherwise because he's been the.
Yeah.
Although
I'm still confused as to why they're starting either Liam Martin or Angus Crichton over Hudson Young, who is arguably the form second rower. That one I don't get.
I know Crichton is good. Maybe Liam Martin could start from the
Liam Martin started his career as a middle forward, so I think you could use him there.
Yeah.
So who am I to question the guy who just won Origin 1? So
You mean Craig Bellamy?
yeah, I suppose.
That's not Laurie Daly. We've seen Laurie Daly's efforts, and no. Look, I don't see anything but a New South Wales win, unfortunately.
I get wanting to have Tom Dearden in the team. I really do. He's an exceptionally talented footballer.
And he gives 110% every time he plays.
If you want to talk people who are pure Queenslanders, that'd be your guy.
Yeah.
But he does not fit what this team needs. They need a halfback. Tom Dearden is not.
At this point, once again, they're doing the Cowboys thing of having two running halves and no real good kickers.
And it's working really well for the Cowboys.
Yeah. I guess we'll see how that works on Saturday with Clifford back. But with this game, you've got two running halves. Munster has a sort of kicking game. It's not as good.
They really don't have one unless they want Caleb Ponga to be the main kicker.
He can do the long kicks.
He could do them. It's possible. He could do like what Latrell Mitchell does.
Yeah, he
could fairly well.
We can see what happens with that.
I really don't like the selection. If you're going to change out your half, change it for a halfback. Yeah. Like put in another halfback. Put in Jamal Fogarty. Put in literally anybody else. It's just Tom Dearden is not the correct answer.
Well, you know he's still going to do everything he can to help Queensland win. We know this. He's not going to.
He's going to try his heart out. Yeah. I just don't know whether.
Or maybe, and here's the thing, maybe he'll bring Queensland along with him. Because last game, they were lethargic. They had nothing. And I know he didn't get much time, but when he came on, he looked a little bit dangerous. You know,
I guess. Maybe
he drags them along with him.
That's the thing you can say is that someone with that enthusiasm for 80 minutes as opposed to 20.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's what you can hope.
Maybe. And look, I'm sorry. I'm usually very positive about Queensland winning, but New South Wales at the moment have a greater pool of talent to choose from. They have all the form players in the league. Right, the only Queensland team that's doing anything good is Melbourne at the moment. But really, that's it, right? I mean, the other three are sort of staggering around to the bottom of the 8 and not really going great.
It's like, I think Billy Slater saw everyone asking, revamp the forwards. Okay, I'll make them worse. Because he somehow managed to do that.
I have the same opinion as you. Horsburgh needs to be there. He comes on when Lenu comes on. It's as simple as that.
Does Kurt Capel usually play? It's usually a left side, so he'll be up against who's the right side today. It'll be Liam Martin.
Oh. Yeah, I think attacking wise they're probably similar, but Liam's better in defence.
Well, it's easy to be better in defence than
the worst defender. I know. Yeah, Capel's done the job before, and even at centre for Queensland, we've seen
a job.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good one.
Well, it wasn't the worst on the team either at that point either.
If New South Wales don't win this game, they need to fire Laurie Daly. This is the most New South Wales favoured game I think I've been alive.
Well, the odds, I think, New South Wales 167, Queensland 330 or something.
New South Wales are $1.37 and Maroons are 310 on, at least on Sportsbet they are. Yeesh.
But
New South Wales going to win by a lot.
as normal, Queenslanders don't mind being the underdogs. They never have. Even throughout their 8 in a row and 11 out of 12, most of the time they were underdogs, which was so amazing to me that they had the best team by some distance and they were still underdogs.
Well, I think that one became as a sunken cost fallacy where it's like, okay, they've won this many times. Surely we're 1 year closer to them not winning. And it didn't happen for a long time.
No, it didn't happen until 2014.
Look, yeah, like you said, the path to Queensland winning this game is Dearden miraculously making the entire team play with 50% more energy than they did in game one.
Yeah.
And that the forward pack somehow doesn't get murdered.
That's the problem.
There's only so much Tino can do. Tino's your handicap in the start of the game.
I still don't think Mo should even be there. This is my thing. I mean,
I don't know who else. I mean, I guess you put Horse in. But I guess he's the obvious answer.
Or even Carrigan could do a job in the front row if he needs.
Front row at Brisbane!
I know. So that's what I'm saying, you know. I mean, I don't know what they're doing.
It's very confusing.
Because I think Carrigan goes to front row. Loiero can stay at lock to start with, goes off. Ruben Cotter comes on.
Push him to the lock role.
Yeah.
And then you can bring Loiero back on if you really feel like it.
Yeah, that's it. You know, there's a number of things that they could do.
They've picked the worst possible permutation for this forward pack, in my opinion.
Well, I do remember the worst Queensland team in history ended up winning. So, and Tony Borton's numpties ended up winning as well.
That team was coached by Wayne Bennett and not Billy Slater.
Yeah, the one that was coached by Tony Borton, who wasn't.
Also, I think Ben Eichen was part of that crew, and he's not anymore.
He was in the Tony Borton version.
Yes. Not even in terms of being a selector.
Oh, right, yeah.
Being involved with Queensland, I don't think he is anymore.
He's the head of the QRL.
It's something like that.
Yeah. Anyway,
we'll see.
We'll see. Good luck, Queensland.
Maroons don't win at Perth.
No, there is that as well.
That is even more cards stacked against them. Let's just hope they win. It's a long shot. What else do you want me to say?
I know, yeah.
There's nothing else to say.
Let's just hope they win. They can win by 1. I don't care.
Right, if they win by 1, I will run out into the street and scream. Hold me to that. I will do that. Except, no, I can't because I'm working that night. Never mind. Yeah, I will still do it. I will run out onto Bayswater Road and go, ah!
Look, what I want to see is an improved performance because the scoreline in the last game didn't really reflect it because New South Wales couldn't kick to save their lives. There should have been 26.
Yes, it should have been a lot worse.
It should have been 26 to 8 tops.
Yeah.
So Queensland looked a lot better than they were based on the scoreline.
Yes, this is true.
I think it's going to be, I don't know, New South Wales. I'm going to be 2 to 12 or something.
I can't see it being anything else other than a rerun of exactly what happened in the first Origin.
Yeah, like you say, the only thing that happens is that fixes that is if Dearden can drag them kicking and screaming.
Let's hope
so. In this game.
And maybe Cameron Ponga can play football.
That'd be nice.
It would be very nice.
TV links up the back somewhere.
Yeah. Good. Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're done.
Yep. Good luck to all your teams, unless you're the Dolphins.
Yes. Goodbye.
Subscribe if you like.
Or don't.
Or don't.
We don't care.